In this video we'll discuss how the ink control can be used in a DataBound UX component to annotate the images that are being displayed in the UX component. So you can see here we have a simple UX component. It's based on a SQL table over here, and you can see that the SQL table has a field called name, a field called image, which is a binary field where the image data is stored, and then another field called ink, which is a character field. It's a long text field that contains the ink, which is just stored as a character string. So if we go to the form view here, we can see that the ink field is just basically text in a special format that Alpha understands. So this is the internal format of the ink field, but the important point to keep in mind is that it is just a text field. So if we go back here to the grid view, we can see that this UX component is going against a table that currently has 2 records right now. So when we're looking, what we see over here is the ink control, and the image is being used as the background for the ink control. So that allows us to use the ink control to annotate the image. So if we want to draw on top of this image, we can choose our pen over here and then go and annotate the image. We can basically go and erase stuff that we've previously written. We can do undo and redo, etc. We can toggle to full screen mode. So basically we've got the full ink editor here to annotate the field. Now we've made some changes here to the annotation, so we can submit them and now save them back to the database. Now if we go to the next record, we can see here we have another image and we've got a different annotation over here. So let's go now and create a new record. So basically we have our new record, and we can go here and call this, say, Gary, and then we'll go here and select an image. So we'll go and just choose an image from the file system here. So let's go and just choose, say, for example, that image over there. And now you can see that basically the image is added, and then the image is used now as the background for the ink control. And I can basically start annotating this image over here. Now you can see that basically the image is displayed in its entirety over here, but the ink control allows you to basically draw on different parts of the image by selecting where you want to draw. So if I just tap over there, you can see now I'm going to be basically annotating the bottom half of this image, and there we'll go. I'll just do some annotation over there. And basically you can see there's a little icon over there that lets you set a viewport on the image to indicate which part of the image you want to be editing. So I'm going to go ahead now and hit the save button, and now basically that data has been added as a new record in the database. If we go now back to the database and do a refresh, we'll see that there's a new record here. There's the image data, binary data, and there's the ink annotation for that image. So the ink is being used basically as a way of annotating the image, and this is a standard UX component that is data bound. And instead of displaying the image directly over here as we normally would, we're displaying the image as a background to the ink control. So let's go now and take a look at this UX component and see how it was designed. So we'll go now back into Alpha, and we can see here that we have a UX component. We'll see over here that this is a data bound UX component, so we're bound right now to a table called image annotation. And basically if we go now and look at the controls on the component, we can see that we have an image field that we've actually hidden, and then we have a button here to capture images, basically to upload images to the server, and then we have our ink control which is displayed over here. So let's pause now and pick this up in the next video. So you can see here that basically the ink field in the table, this field over here, ink, has been bound in the data binding section over here. If we go to data binding and then go to the controls section, we can see here that the field in the table called ink has been bound to the control the ink control on the UX components. So here's our ink control over here, which was basically added from the ink control section over here in the data controls. But the important thing is over here in this ink control, if we scroll down to the data binding section over here, we can see that there's a property here that says ink control has background image, so we've checked that property, and then we've specified which image control on the UX component has the background image, and then here we've specified ink units per pixel. So this basically is a measure of the precision of the ink. So if you set the ink units per pixel to 1, then you're going to be drawing your annotation at the lowest precision. The higher this value, the more precise the annotation is. So you can see that actually when we go into preview mode here, because the ink units per pixel is set to a number greater than 1, the ink background here, the drawing area here, is not showing the entire image right now. If the units had been set to 1, then this drawing area here would comprise the entire image over here, and we would be drawing at a lower precision. So basically all that we needed to do in order to basically annotate this image was add an ink control and set the data binding properties on the ink control to specify that there was a background image. Now the ink control itself is configured over here using the ink properties, and we just chose the ink genie here to choose the actual layout of the ink control. There are different types of layouts that you can choose, but we've chosen the default layout over here. And then the important thing to note here is that we turned auto commit on, which means that every time we make some changes to the annotation, those changes will be committed and the UX component will go dirty. If we did not have auto commit turned on, we would have to add a separate button to the UX component to commit the data from the ink control back to the UX component. And this auto commit property is not on by default, because when you have a very large amount of ink, it can take a little bit of time to commit the ink back to the UX components, and so you wouldn't want to do that automatically as the user was drawing. So that's all that it took to actually set up this ink control. So what we're going to do in the next video is start from scratch and build this component, showing you step by step how it was done. In this video we'll show how you can set up a UX component with data binding that allows you to capture images and then annotate the images using the ink control. And we're going to basically bind this UX component here to a SQL table over here that has a field called name, a field called image, and a field called ink, and then a second image field and a second ink field. So this particular UX component is going to have 2 images and 2 ink controls on it. So we'll start out now. We'll go to, we have our empty UX component over here. We'll go to text boxes, and then we'll just use the genie to actually build this form for us very quickly. So we'll say populate this UX component from a table, and we'll go now and choose the connection string to our SQL database. So in this case my connection string is a MariaDB table, and then I'll go here and choose my annotation example over here, so sorry, image annotation, and then go ahead now and click OK to basically select all fields. So we can see now that the UX component is going to automatically create a control called ID, name, image, ink, image2 and ink2, and it's going to add all of the necessary data binding. So this genie just saves me a lot of time in just setting up the UX component. So now you can see we've got this component set up, and I'm just going to call this UX1, and if we go now and we run this, we'll see that the images are showing up, but the ink is just showing up as text over here. We haven't actually set this to an ink control. and we also haven't defined the buttons that capture the images. So let's go now to this field over here, which is currently just an input field, and change its control type to ink. So we'll go there and select ink, and then we'll go to this ink field over here and also change its control type to ink. Then we'll go to this first ink control and configure it. So we'll open up the properties. We'll use the genie to choose the default layout, and then we'll turn auto commit on. So one thing that I want to point out is that we're currently using the alpha style. So the ink control right now uses CSS that is only available in the iOS 7, Android Light, Android Dark, and Alpha. So the ink control is not currently supported in the older style sheets like Mo Blue or GR Blue, etc. So let's go ahead now and just click OK. So we've configured the first ink control. Now we'll go to the second ink control over here and configure this again. We'll use the genie to quickly choose a layout. We'll turn auto commit on, and now we go to the first ink control and we turn on background images, and then we'll go over here and specify which image to use. So we'll want the first image there as the background, and then we'll go to this second ink control over here, and we'll turn on a background image, and we'll go here and we'll choose image number 2. Now you can see that one of the prompts that is available here is the ink units per pixel. So let's make this one 5 and leave the second one at 1, so we can actually go ahead and see the difference. Now we haven't yet hidden the two image controls, so when we go over now to preview this component, what we're going to actually end up seeing are two images. We're going to see the actual image field over here, and then we're going to see the ink control over here, which basically has the image as the background, and then the annotation area over here. Now on this first ink control, recall that we set the number of ink units per pixel to 5, so you can see here that we're drawing at a higher precision than we are in the second image, where we set 1 ink unit per pixel, so that the drawing area here is the entire image. So let's pause now and complete the process, where we'll go now and add the buttons to capture the images, and then we'll go ahead and actually hide the images so we don't see the image and then also the image in the ink control. So we'll pause now and pick this up in the next video. So we're continuing now describing how to set up a UX component that is data bound, that captures images to do image annotation. So let's go back now, and let's go now to this image here, the first image, and add a button to capture a new image. So I'll go here and say capture image, and then I'll go and use action JavaScript to define the action. So I'll go here and type in image upload, and we'll specify that we want to upload to the first image field, and we don't need to wait for confirmation. We'll start the upload as soon as the user has selected the field, and then we'll also go now to the second image, and we'll add another button over there. So we'll go there and add a button, and we'll go here and we'll say capture image, and we'll define this again. So we'll go here and we'll say image upload, and we'll choose the second image field. So here we go with the second image field, and again we'll choose to start uploading immediately after the user has made a selection. So now we have our two buttons, and now let's go to this first image field over here and turn the display off. So we'll go to style and we'll say display : none. Just copy that, and then go to the second image and say display none over there as well, and let's also turn off the label that's above the image. So we'll go label position, we'll say none, and we'll go here and say label position none. So now we've basically got our two images with being hidden, and the images being displayed as backgrounds to the to the ink control. So now if we go to this first record here and start editing the record, if we were to go now and select a different image, the existing annotation here makes no sense because this annotation here was specific to this particular image. So you can see now if we go here and capture a different image, so we'll go there now and choose a different, let's go here and choose that image, you'll see that basically the annotation gets removed because this is a new image now, and the previous annotation, as I said, makes no sense. So we've removed the annotation. We'll go here and put some new annotation on. We'll basically highlight his nose and then switch our pen color to say a different color. Over there you can see that we've got undo and redo as well, and now that I've got that edited, I can go here and hit the submit button to submit my edits back to the database. So what we've shown in this video is how easy it is to basically use the ink control as a mechanism for annotating images that you capture or upload in a UX component that has been data bound. Thanks very much for watching.